So, ladies, gentlemen, so there are two choices in class today. You can... Oh, for goodness sake. We literally just started. Anyway, so there are two choices in class today. My right-hand side are watching the paragraph video. My left-hand side are doing essay questions. There's a whole bunch of people here without earplugs in. So you're either on this side or you're on that side. Right. Nick, are you on right or left? You can't be both. It's a terrible idea. We are recording this, so you can get it later. So, Finn, what are you doing? I have a pair of headphones in my office if you want them. Oh, there we go. Alex has got some. That's very kind of you. I have big pink ones, so it's probably. Alright, so the question that got asked to do is question 7 on the list, which was, in terms of quality, you could use a punch up right there. Ideally, that's upvotes from quality people. And then, so there's a quote aspect to it. And then the actual question asks, how is the tool of language used in both Black Mirror and Fahrenheit 451 to communicate authorial intent? I love this question. If this question came up on the SAC and I was still in year 11 and had to write on this, I would 150% pick it. Because it's basically a choose your own adventure. It's like, write whatever you want. We've given you some guidelines, but basically you can take this wherever you want. So, let me show you why it is that. Okay, first off, let's talk about the quote. Where is the quote from? So in terms of, it's from Nosedive. Who says it?
The analytical guy.
The analytics guy, yeah. Yeah, it's the analytics guy, you know, that Lacey goes and visits, and he's just like, oh yeah, look, you've got potential, blah, 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 you can, you know, you could definitely get that score if you got a punch up from quality people. Yes? This is my life. I know, I went to uni for 4 years. Yep, go for it. Enjoy. Right. Sometimes I need to. Alright. So, now we know where the quote is from. Now, the important thing to take into consideration is that when you do have a quote, you do have to use it at some point in the essay, which sounds bad, but it's actually good because now you've got another quote up your sleeve. And the great thing is that usually when it gives you a quote, it's trying to kind of nudge you in the right direction to the answer. It's kind of like, these are the kinds of things you should talk about. So what is this talking about? In terms of quality people, you could use a punch up right there. Ideally, that's upvotes from quality people. Why would I put that quote there? What's the important word there that they're using? Quality people. Implying that if there are quality people, there are not quality people. Which, you know, would not be a lovely thing to be described as. That there are people that are worthy of your time and people who are not worthy. That is the implication of that statement. Okay? So, let's just highlight that word. Quality. That word is being used for a reason, that there are quality people, and then there are not quality people. And then it says, how is the tool of language? Knowing that we know that word quality is important. Okay? How is the tool of language used in both Black Mirror and Fahrenheit to communicate authorial intent? So, does it say what authorial intent I have to talk about? No. It just has to be how has he used language to say stuff. Because basically that's what authorial intent means, doesn't it? Authorial intent means the reason, the intent, the reason the text was written. Right? So it says, how is the tool of language used to communicate why the text was written? Basically, the question is, how is language used to say stuff? Whatever stuff you want to talk about, doesn't matter. That is like the best question ever, because you can talk about anything. You can talk about the messages that it has about technology, the messages it has about oppression, the messages that it has about knowledge, the messages that it has about the future. Anything. That is the best question ever, because I can just tailor it to whatever I feel strongest in. If I feel like I can talk about 3 paragraphs about the messages about technology, I do that. If I feel like I can talk 3 paragraphs about dystopian worlds, I talk about that and the authorial intent behind that. If I wanted to do a paragraph on each, I could do that. This is a good question. It's just one of those questions that nobody will pick because they'll go, oh, there's a quote in it. Ah. And they'll freak out and they'll pick it. So dumb. Because basically, it's also already kind of nudged me in the right direction that I should talk about. So the Quality Votes from Quality People quote says, talk about the way that humans treat each other. So I need to do 1 paragraph about that. So let's talk about it. So, what do you want to do? What's one authorial intent? What's one message that both texts say? What do they say about the world? And then we'll do the language stuff after. What is one thing that both Bradbury and Brooker say? Good, okay. Humanity is becoming disconnected from each other. Great. That's a fantastic point. I think both texts are definitely saying that, aren't they? They're both saying, we're disconnecting. All right. So if it's saying that, how does it communicate that through the language that it uses? Well, we could use the quote. So in Nosedive, people don't value each other, they value votes and prestige. You know, the notoriety of being a 4-point something. Make sense? You know, no one seems to, in this text, in Nosedive, no one seems to do things out of the kindness of their hearts, do they? No one kind of goes, oh, I'm going to give to that poor person because I can see that they're struggling. Or I'm going to be nice to my barista because he's a nice guy who deserves to be treated with dignity. Lacey is nice to the barista because she's like, I want that vote. They're not nice for nice sake. Like even the thing with Lacey and Naomi. Why does Naomi pick Lacey for a bridesmaid? Good. A 4.2 would have looked good in her analytics. What does she say? When we did the simulation, it played out really well. And that is language, isn't it? When she says that, yeah. It looked great in the simulations. And then she says something about, like, but a 2 point something, that's just laying it on too thick, or something like that. Yeah, find that quote. Can you find that for me? But and then Maddie's going to find it for me. All right, and what about Fahrenheit? How does Fahrenheit show this kind of disconnect with language? Yep. That's my family. Yeah, good. The use of the word family to talk about the parlour. Yeah. Fahrenheit 451. Use of the word family when describing the TV show shows that they are more connected to the TV than each other. And then I'm just going to write Mildred leaving the home. My poor family. Yeah? Excellent. This is good. I like this already. Yes?
For socializing, everything seems like the opposite, because Clarice is like really chatty and stuff, but she's seen as like unsocial.
Good. Clarice is described as antisocial. But is the friendliest character to Montag. Pardon? Oh, yeah, what is it?
That just puts the sting on things a little too much. That just plays badly.
That just puts stink on things a little too much. That just plays badly for us. Good. Which I think really proves our point, doesn't it, about how, like, they don't do things for other people, they do it for themselves. Like, where she says, you know, that just plays badly for us. I'm not going to do something nice for you because that's bad for us. And it's like, well, that's like the whole point of, like, being nice is that, you know, you do things that may kind of put you at a sacrifice, but, you know, helps others. Is this big enough for people? Is that all right? Okay. So, great first paragraph, don't you agree? Yeah? Smashing. Love it. All right. So, and do you see what I mean? It's not as hard as you think it is, this question. You think this question is really hard, but then when you read into it, you're like, it's actually really easy. I could do a whole essay just on this, just on how does language show that humanity is disconnecting from each other? Like, there are loads of ways I could do that. You know, the ADIs, you know, the hashtags, all of that. Like, there's so much I could talk about. Oh my gosh. So, What's the next authorial intent statement that you want to make? What else does this text kind of prove? Yep.
For the first paragraph, can we talk about how they compare?
You are supposed to.
Can we talk about the
Yes. Would you like to? All right. How do they compare then? How are they similar or different in their message? So the message is that humanity is becoming disconnected from each other. How are these texts similar in that regard? Well, they both show that humans are becoming disconnected. Yeah. Both texts show through language that humans are becoming disconnected. What else is similar? Move this out of the way. Get out of the way. How else are they similar? What about how they're using the language? So the language in both cases is what? Revolving around what? Both show people are becoming more self-centered. I'll give you a hint. Technology. They both show, so in Fahrenheit, the disconnection revolves around technology, and in Nosedive, it revolves around technology, doesn't it? Both show that the disconnection is being like supported, maybe supported, or like enabled, encouraged. Being encouraged by technology. Cool. What do you think? This is a cracker paragraph. If someone submitted me this paragraph, I'd give them an A. Just on the complexity of the ideas alone. That I'd go, this is a smashing, they get it. They get what these texts are about. True? Exciting. Exciting. Cool. So that's just paragraph 1. And I feel like we've got so much more to talk about. What else do you think these both texts say? We did days of it. Think about those Venn diagrams. What else do they both say? Yes. Do you need this still? Remember, I'm recording it and I'm typing it, so I'm going to send you it. So don't panic if you are not with every single thing. I send everything. I send everything. That's what I do. But it is good to write stuff because that helps in the absorption. So we were going to do rebelling, that we're encouraged to rebel against our society if we think it's bad, and how language is used to do that, to show that. All right, let's do it. Oop, no, next one. Okay. Both texts encourage the viewer or reader to rebel against oppressive societies. Okay. So, This is my next paragraph. Both texts encourage the viewer or reader, because obviously we've got one that's a viewer and one that's a reader, to rebel against oppressive societies. How is language used to show that? Think back to the language. Pardon? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so like the omission by characters of like their true thoughts. Yeah. So omission of too far. There we go. Omission of true thoughts means like taking out. Yeah. From the dialogue of the characters. This is good. This is good. I like it. So, what Alana's done is she's just thrown us this idea about how in both texts, in, say, Nosedive and in Fahrenheit, both of our protagonists can't really say what they really think until the end. Yeah? Yeah? So, Montag can't... What can't he say? What does he want to say and can't say? Think of an instance where he wants to say something and he can't say it.
When friends are saying, you know when like you always have to make dinner with like all at lunch with like two of our friends, but like one time I and it's not really poetry.
But he kind of does say it. Yeah.
There's a bit where.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. But does he say it though? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Can't make references to books he has read in front of Beatty. Otherwise, he will show that he is reading. So Montag can't make references to books he has read in front of Beatty. Otherwise he will show that he is reading. Then at the end, you know, like when he does rebel, he actually says what he thinks. He actually crushes the earpiece from Faber. You know, like the earpiece crushes, and then he says what he really thinks. Pardon? Where are you going with that? Oh, okay. Right, gentlemen, ready? Then when he chooses to rebel against Beatty, he finally starts to use the knowledge that he gained from books to fight against Beatty's logic. Yeah? Ooh, do you? Quote? Love it.
You're not a problem now. You've always said don't face the problem, burn it. Well, now I've done both. Goodbye, Captain.
Good. Can you go from not the first bit of the sentence, so like, well, you always skip that bit, and then the next bit, what was it? Hang on, read it again.
You're not a problem now. You always said don't face the problem, burn it.
Always said Don't face your problem. Burn it.
Well, now I've done both. Goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, Captain.
Now,
157.
And it's, well,
it's
now
such like an 80s one-liner.
Well, now I have done both. Okay. Perfect. No, that's good. Right. Where do we see Lacey holding back her true thoughts? In the airport, yes. Where we see her, she goes to say something and then she's like, and she swallows it. And then we're talking about cinematic techniques, which is acting. From the Camels, actors and acting.
Even when she goes to rent a car.
Lacey.
When she goes to charge the car, she drives it.
It's in the airport, and you know where she goes to the charging station,
Yeah.
and the guy's like horrible.
And she basically finds something and she gets
Yeah, and then she gets two. And
But then she does say something.
well, yeah, but she still is like
Wasn't a meaningful
counter, and she's just like yeah. Station.
Even the cows are different language.
It's also kind of when she's all nice to
What's that?
And even the bit where she oh god, like what was the bit that I was going to talk about? Oh, the bit with the coffee. You know, she has the coffee and she says the coffee was delicious, and then she tastes it and it's really crap. Yeah.
Susan as well.
Yeah.
Kind of like, she wants to say what's going on, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not that.
Who's Susan?
Truck driver.
Oh, yeah.
Um
The tractor.
so where do we see Lacey rebel and actually express what she thinks? Good, where she's screaming at the end and she actually looks happy. Yeah.
At the wedding as well.
But she doesn't look happy there. But you know, like where she's like, you know, you've got an ugly face, and then she just like, ah! Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this video is getting demonetized.
Pardon?
Your video is getting demonetized.
Demonetized? Why? Oh, I don't monetize anyway. I don't put ads in mine because I feel bad. I wouldn't want to. That's
You need 100
Are we allowed to swear?
not really.
No.
I wouldn't.
Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Stop.
If you need to swear in a quote, that's totally fine. It's totally fine. At the end is screaming.
Yeah, no, we're not stealing our This is really bad bread.
Yeah, she said that.
Right, so what I've done, with this piece of evidence, gentlemen, what I've done with this piece of evidence is I've leaned really heavily on cinematic techniques, because cinematic techniques are something that you would be expected to talk about. Okay, you are expected to talk about cinematic techniques. The main reason I'm really wanting you to talk about cinematic techniques is not only because obviously it's a way that you can use evidence, but also next year we're doing Rear Window as your first text, and that is a film, and you will be expected to talk about cinematic techniques. Okay, so better you start practicing it now. Rear Window by Alfred Hitchcock. It's really good. It's really good. It's once you kind of start understanding it, it's really good. Once you start kind of looking at it, it's really good. So, can't teach Pulp Fiction. I don't know. Have you watched Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, 40 times.
Yeah, it's rated R. I don't know. So, I'm using the cinematic techniques here, and I've said at the end, where she is in prison, she's screaming at the man across from her, but her facial expression shows that she's finally happy. If you actually look at her face, even though she's yelling, she's actually smiling. So that shows us that she's finally happy, and it's a genuine smile. Unlike the smiles that she's been using before, where it doesn't actually engage her eyes, this is actually, she's really happy. And at the same time, this is one of the few scenes that we see Lacey with no filter. So in the rest of the episode, she's always got this kind of slight filter over her that makes her kind of look more perfect and airbrushed. Gentlemen, I'm getting bored of telling you off. Whereas in this final scene, there is zero filter. And we actually see all of the imperfections and the lines and stuff on her face, which shows that she's finally being herself. It's supposed to be kind of symbolic that she's finally being who she actually is. That it's not, who she actually is not being filtered anymore. Does that make sense? Cool. Yes, darling. You can say that she's smiling or she's whatever. Yeah. That would be fine. Yeah. But you have to talk about specifically where in that scene is she kind of doing that. Yeah. You can't just kind of say Lacey smiles, and it's like, yeah, but when? When does she smile? That's my evidence. Yeah. Instead of a quote, I'm using that. Yeah. So, gentlemen, your SAC is tomorrow. This might be useful information for you. So Maddie asked, could you use film techniques instead of quotes? Yes. 100 times yes. Okay, you can combine them. That's totally fine. But cinematic techniques are a form of direct evidence. Okay, so use them. Okay, it's a really great way of using evidence. Cool. Do we want to do one more paragraph, or do you want to do a new topic? New topic? Okay. Now, by the way, you've got 2 hours on this SAC.
Oh, what? I thought it was 90.
We were going to give you 90, and then we go, you know what, let's give him 2 hours and let him do something decent. Yeah, I know. So, I would say in that, I'll just wait. With 2 hours, you should be able to do 3 excellent paragraphs with depth. Okay? Now, keep in mind that we've got the both text encourage, blah, blah, blah. You need to do justice to your comparison. Okay? So you'll have you know, your topic sentence, your evidence from your first text, your explanation from your first text, evidence from the second text, explanation from your second text, comparison. Don't give me one sentence of comparison. I want like 3, 4, 5 sentences of comparison, where you actually talk about the similarities and the differences. Okay? Talk about what's similar, what's different. Is one more severe than the other? Why? Okay, yep.
I remember doing this last week. Can you do the first paragraph on
No. No. Every paragraph must compare. The reason for that is because last year, which was the first year of comparison essay writing on the exam, a lot of kids went in going, I'll write one paragraph on Fahrenheit, one paragraph on my first text, one paragraph on my second text, and my third paragraph I'll write the comparison. They did really badly because a lot of them, if they got to their third paragraph, which lots of them didn't, and therefore they got like 2s because there was no comparison. So they wrote because, you know, they only have an hour, so they're writing madly, and then they get to their second paragraph, and often in the exam, you get to your second paragraph, and then you don't have time to write your third. So they left the most important paragraph last, and they couldn't do it, and so they failed that section. You know, they got like 2s because there was no comparison. 2 out of 10. Or they got to their third paragraph, and they were like, shivers, I've got 10 minutes. Write some crap, done, move on. So like the one thing that's actually at the heart, they duffed it.
In the name.
Yeah.
So,
No, I'm saying write comparison in every paragraph. So in every paragraph, you know how I'm showing you the structure on there? That every paragraph, you know how I've got teal, I've got T-E-E-E-C-L. Do it like that. Yeah. Yes.
so when you're giving evidence and explanation, that you're saying, so make that more like, I'm not saying like a list, but it's more listing than actually like.
What do you mean?
Too much information. That's how I would think.
I'm confused. Okay. All right. So, do you want to do another? Oh, I don't know if we're gonna have time. I don't know if we have time. Let's just look at another question, just to kind of for shits and gigs. Let's have a look at. Actually, no. I know what I want to do. I want to show you Julia's essay. I know, because she smashed it. I'm going to show you why she smashed it. Don't mind me, just getting my emails up. All right. No, it's there. All right.
Yeah, full past it.
Did I?
Back up. Yeah, right at the bottom. Right at the bottom.
Okay. So, let's have a look at. All right. So, I'm going to break down Julia's essay. So, her question that she picked, so she picked something herself, and she did, do you know why I never brought any guys back here? It's because I don't want them to know I was sharing a skanky ass cave with Mr. 3.F. Both Fahrenheit and Black Mirror present technology as a dangerous force. Okay, so, here we go. Titles and authors. Bam, done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alright. She introduces the topic. Explores the impact that technology has on society. So she introduces the topic. Then she gives me her arguments. The text demonstrates the dangers of technology through the abuse and misuse of it. That is her first argument. Additionally, Bradbury and Brooker proclaim that technology reduces individuality by forcing characters to abide societal expectations. That is her second paragraph. And then her third paragraph. In contrast, Both texts suggest that technology can be used for the greater good when used correctly. And I really like that paragraph because what she's doing is she isn't just kind of going the easy route of agreeing with the question. She's going, you know what? Oh, I've already done that colour. Blue? No, blue's too dark. Well, this is irritating. Grey. So, that paragraph is really interesting because she doesn't just agree with the question, she challenges the question as well. She doesn't just say it's a dangerous force, she goes, yes, but they also say you can use it for good. Make sense? Yes. So, her intro is spectacular. Let's have a look at her topic sentence. Both Fahrenheit and Black Mirror, I'll just wait. Guys, I don't know why you're talking, you need to know this. Both Fahrenheit and Black Mirror focus on the detrimental effects of exploiting technology. That's her topic sentence. The reason why it's so good is because it just gets straight to the guts. She just goes, this is what I'm going to talk about in my first paragraph. Brilliant. I'll just wait. The bell hasn't gone yet. I know you guys are all getting nice and prepared, but don't worry. You're not going anywhere. Right. Then she gives me the evidence. The ADIBs used in Black Mirror highlights the dangers of technology as they were not designed to kill, however, ultimately did. The bees are originally designed by the director to elicit fear in society as they cause death. This is conveyed when DCI Park. Have you noticed what she doesn't do? What is so good about her evidence here is what she doesn't do. She doesn't go, in Hated in the Nation, there is a character called Blue and another character called Karen, and they are police. And there is a murder of a woman called Jo Parks, and she doesn't tell me the story. I know the story. I watched it. That's why I brought it to you. And I went, hey, you might want to watch this. Let's teach it. You don't need to tell me the story. I know it. What you need to do is tell me the significance of the things that happen. So she doesn't waste a whole lot of time telling me the story. Okay? What often is referred to as retelling. She doesn't retell, she just goes, I need to talk about the ADIs, so here is information about the ADIs. Okay? So, and then so she gives a quote about one or more of your ADIs may be involved in an unexplained death. Oh, I don't want that all to be yellow. Okay, then she goes into her explanation. Starts really well by going, this demonstrates. So she's not going to do a whole lot of retelling here. She's going to go, I'm going to tell you what this demonstrates. This demonstrates, a great way to start your explanation. Okay? This demonstrates blah, 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 blah. By doing this, da, da, da. Right. Beautiful. Love that explanation. Then she does something wonderful. She doesn't just kind of go straight into Fahrenheit. She uses this gorgeous word, similarly. So she's saying, look, these are comparisons. Don't move. I'm not done with you. She gives more evidence, and she doesn't just kind of tell me the story. She actually just tells me, I'm going to talk to you about the mechanical hound. And I go, that's great. Tell me about the mechanical hound, please, Julia. I'm keen to know. Then she goes, Bradbury uses the hound to illustrate. I'm going to tell you what this illustrates, this demonstrates, this highlights. Beautiful. Then, last but not least, she then goes in and says, and does her comparison. Both Brooker and Bradbury present technology as a dangerous force by emphasizing the government's use the use of technology to repress society. So she makes a comparison. The governments in both of these are using technology to repress. Then she says, the text insinuates that the abuse of technology can have fatal consequences. So they both show that it can be fatal. Great point. That is gross. Okay? The one criticism I did have for our gorgeous Julia is that I felt like she could have elaborated a little bit more on her comparison. That being said, you've got to say, for a first draft, that's pretty bloody good, isn't it? Round of applause to Julia! Woo! Go team. Right, you've got a lot of study to do tonight.